So we're gonna go into what exactly Biden did or his administration did that is so historically significant and it's been all over the news, all over my feed, and we're going to go into exactly how much money you could possibly get, or more accurately, how much forgiveness you could get. We're gonna go into what loans are actually applicable for this. We're gonna go into how you can be eligible for it, and last but definitely not least, we're gonna go into the chances of this actually happening and if it's at risk of not happening. So now the timestamps are going to be all down below for the different parts of the video, but I kind of recommend watching it fully through to understand exactly what's going on and what it means to you. And I will also be putting a link down below to the article I'm going to write on this topic, going into all of the resources that I use to make sure my information is accurate in these videos, because I do a new video every single Wednesday helping you figure out adulting. Well, I'm attempting to figure it out myself, and I do videos on a bunch of different topics, so I'd really appreciate if you hit the like and subscribe button down below. It really makes a huge difference. It is completely free, and there is a new video every single Wednesday. And like I said, I do a bunch of different topics, from figuring out your apartment situation to going on apartment tours and housing tours to talking about making money in interesting manners. I also go into banking, credit cards, finances in general. There's so much topics that I cover, and I make sure I will research them before I do the video. So I was online, and yes, I heard about the idea that there might be some kind of loan forgiveness that's gonna happen. And they've been trying to get it for a really long time, so I didn't think that much of it because I figured it was never gonna pass because there was a lot of people that are against it. But this is not that kind of video. We're not going to talk about the politics of it. We're not going to talk about if it should or shouldn't happen. But point is, I heard about all this. I just thought it would never pass, and I thought it would never apply to me. Because from what it seemed like it was for specific people, and that I wasn't a part of that group. And I expected to turn 30 and be a part of the Americans from age 30 to 44 that have 49% of the national student loan debt, which is a balance of approximately $823 billion. I expected to be a part of that because I expected that I probably wasn't going to be paying off my student loans by 30. But there might be a chance of me doing it now because of the Biden-Harris administration and their student loan forgiveness plan. But to give you guys some background information if you didn't already know, student loans that were federal loans were currently on pause. And so what that basically meant is that people didn't have to make payments on them, and they weren't earning interest on their balance, because unfortunately loans go a lot higher than what you originally take out because obviously you earn interest on them regularly, but you didn't during this payment pause period. And the most recent extension was actually about to end. So for me personally, that means I was gonna have to start paying my loan again. Yeah, I could have been paying my loan this whole entire time, but I was focusing my money on other things because it wasn't accruing interest. So I was like, I'll leave it for now. And I think a lot of Americans did the same thing. But either way, I knew my payments were going to start again soon. And I also knew that I had two different types of loans. So I have a personal loan that I took out for college, and I have a Parent Plus loan, which technically isn't my loan. It's a loan my parents took out. But for me personally, and I feel like a lot of Americans, it's a Parent Plus loan, but the kid is expected to pay for it, and I am. So even though it's not underneath my name, I'm expected to make the monthly payments on it. It is my money that I took out for my education. Whether that was a good decision or not, it's done and over with. I made the decision. I did it. So either way, I had both of those loans. And those are two different types of loans. So I'm like, am I getting $10,000 just for my loan? Am I getting $10,000 for the other loan too? So we're going to go into the particulars of what is eligible and what isn't eligible, but you might have also heard the concept of $20,000 for one individual person. And yes, some people could be getting $20,000 instead of 10. So let's go into the particulars on what exactly Biden's administration did in the technical legal terms and what it could possibly mean for you. President Biden, Vice President Harris, and the U.S. Department of Education actually announced a three-part plan to help mostly lower to middle class Americans pay off their federal student loans. And so what the announcement included was a maximum of $10,000 to $20,000 in federal student loan forgiveness That word is important. And soon we'll get into who gets what amounts. And also they extended the pause that was currently going on until December 31st of this year. So people have a little bit longer before their loans are going to be starting requiring them to pay and starting to earn interest on them. And this debt relief will not actually be treated as taxable federal income. It's not per se guaranteed that you might not get taxed on the state level yet. Most likely you won't be. There could be some states that do, but it is guaranteed that you're not going to be federally taxed on this as income in any way. So in a tax way, this money is free. You're not paying a fee on getting it. And who exactly is eligible for it and what loans will be forgiven? Because you can't just think that everybody's going to be included in this. It's not like the government just decided, hey, we're sending out a $10,000 to $20,000 check to every single American. It does not work like that. For one, you do have to meet an income requirement because they don't want this to really be for people that aren't lower to middle class, people that are in, better financial situations that don't really per se need the forgiveness. They don't want to give them the forgiveness. So you have to make under $125,000 a year. Or if you are married or, joint filing, you have to make under $250,000. So this actually did rule out a good amount of people because they end up getting married and their partner brings them to this level of being above $250,000 a year. And also, it is one thing to keep in mind that wasn't as blatantly talked about is if you were a dependent underneath your parents still, even if it's your own personal loan, if you are a dependent, they're going to base it on your parents' income, not yours, which means you might not be getting the $10,000 that you thought you were going to be get. And that $10,000 is for people that meet that income requirement and also have federal student loans, and it's up to $10,000. So if you currently have a balance of less than $10,000, you're going to get that and it's going to completely wipe it out. If you have more than $10,000, then it's going to take off $10,000, but you're still responsible for the rest of it. And also, these loans had to have been taken out before June 30th of 2022. And I've seen that in multiple places, but I feel like not every resource is talking about that. So you can't just go out and take out $10,000 in student loans now and expect to get $10,000 from the government. It's from before June 30th of this year. Now, if you were a Pell Grant recipient, that's where the extra money comes in. It's for people that got a Pell Grant during the time that they were in school. And this Pell Grant is a federal grant that is only given to undergraduate students who display exceptional financial need and have not earned a bachelor's degree, graduate, or professional degree. I was looking at my notes for that, making sure I'm quoting that right. But either way, people that got a Pell Grant during college will be getting up to $20,000. So basically an extra $10,000, and it's up to $20,000 again. So it's based on your balance. If your balance is less than 20, you're getting that amount. If your balance is over 20, even if you got a Pell Grant, you're not getting more than that $20,000. Now, what if your parent got a Parent Plus loan? Because a lot of Americans end up getting one because if you didn't know, federal student loans have a cap on them, an amount that you can take out, and it's actually $12,500 a year. So if your cost for education is above that amount, you have to look at other options, and one of the most common ones is a Parent Plus loan. And yes, according to Biden's senior administration officials, it will be included in this debt forgiveness. But will it be included considered together, like my personal loan and the Parent Plus loan? Will those both be considered as one and get only $10,000? Or will it be considering them separately and they'll each be getting $10,000? Because technically the parent loan is not underneath me, only the other loan is. So will students and parents be considered separate borrowers, or will they be considered the same? So if the student is not a dependent, they will be considered separately with separate requirements that are the same but for separate people. So basically for a personal loan, so my personal loan underneath me, I have to be between that income requirement, and it also has to be a federal student loan. I will get $10,000, up to $10,000. If my balance is less than that, which I'm pretty sure it's not less than that, I'm pretty sure it's higher than that, so most likely I will be getting the $10,000. Ignore my nervousness about that, but either way, now that this is going to be happening. It'll be really great to get that $10,000. And as for a Parent Plus loan, they also have to make the income requirement. So your parent has to make under $125,000 a year or $250,000 a year as a married couple. So it does consider their partner too. And for a lot of people, their parents end up jointly making more than $250,000 a year. I think I'm like on the borderline, but I'm pretty sure I will also be getting the $10,000 for the Parent Plus loan. But it won't be me personally. Technically, the forgiveness is on the Parent Plus loan. It's not going to be going to you. It's going to be directly taken off of that loan, just as mine's going to be directly taken off of my loan. So I'm never touching any of the money. You're never touching any of the money. You can't use the $10,000 of the Parent Plus loan towards your other loan. So let's say your Parent Plus loan was only $5,000, but your personal loan was $15,000. You can't take that extra remaining $5,000 and put it towards yours. It's a cap of a maximum of $10,000 for each of them. So how exactly are we going to be getting this money, and what are the likelihoods of it not happening? So now the FSA has said that 8 million Americans will automatically get this loan forgiveness because the Department of Education already has their information. The people not included in that group, the Biden administration says in the coming weeks they're going to make an application process where you can submit your financial information, and even if you're unsure if they have your information, you can submit it. Now, this is going to be available, they say, by early October, but there's no concrete date yet, and borrowers are expected to get forgiveness within 4 to 6 weeks of them getting your information, and you can actually be notified to when the applications are going to start at studentaid.gov. And again, I will link the article down below once I have finished it, which will have all the links to all the resources, including where you can get on this list to be notified. Now, with all that said, there is expected to be some legal challenges, just like there are with other historically significant things that are put in place. There's going to be people that are going to try to fight them. And this one, even though the Biden administration says they feel like they are legally sound, they do understand that things do get challenged, and they're not going to go into the hypotheticals yet because it could technically happen, but they don't want to go into it until it does actually happen. So the reason why there's some room for this not to happen is because the Biden administration is relying on the 2003 HEROES Act, which gives the Education Secretary the authority to waive debt obligations amid a war or national emergency. And this specifically has a lot of relation to after 9/11. But the Biden administration is using this in relation to COVID-19, claiming that that emergency gives the Education Department the authority to suspend loan payments again and also cancel loan debt. But the act still uses very vague language, and the original intent for Congress wasn't for this purpose. And it's still in question whether they can actually fully give forgiveness and not just postpone it. Giving actual forgiveness at this significant level is being put into question. So there could be many legal challenges ahead for this act, but it's still in question who will actually have standing to actually be able to sue and challenge this. And especially since they are trying to do this in a pretty quick manner. It is coming up and they're expecting to give this forgiveness by December 31st when payments are going to start again. They expect to give the forgiveness out before that, so it doesn't leave that much time realistically for much legal action. Since there's also vague language, it doesn't clearly state that they don't have this authority, but it doesn't clearly state that they do, and it also doesn't really leave a place on who's allowed to challenge this or not. And with all of that said, there's going to be a lot of opinions and perspectives on whether it should or shouldn't happen. And this video isn't about that. And my comment section isn't about that. But if you want to share your personal experience on what is going on with you and how this relates to you, feel free to comment them down below. Just please be respectful of everyone, whether you agree with it or don't. I understand some of the perspectives on people that don't agree with it, but I also really want it, and it would really help me in a significant manner, and so would it help millions of Americans. But again, it is not the debate. But if you want to share your personal experience, experience, please just do it friendly. And also please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Again, it is completely free. I do a new video every single Wednesday helping you figure out adulting while I'm attempting to figure it out myself, and I promise I will do a follow-up video in the coming months. And I hope you have a great rest of your morning, evening, night, whatever it is for you. I'll see you Wednesday.